conference for the Subway ACC Football Championship game. We're going to go ahead and get going with this. So if you could just maybe make an opening statement about your season and the game coming up, and then we'll open it up for questions.
Sure, Kevin. Appreciate it. Great to be with you guys on a Sunday. It's not every day you get to be in a championship game and championship press conference. So it's great to represent the Coastal Division, just proud of our kids and the work they put in, all the way back to spring ball, going into fall camp, and this was our goal. And we go one game at a time during the season has kind of been our mantra. Trying to go 1-0, and it'll be the same this week. And we got a great team in Wake Forest that we face, Coach Clawson, super coach, classy guy, got a great football team, both sides of the ball, special teams, and we'll have our work cut out for us. It'll be a heck of a game in Charlotte. Haven't had a chance to look at the weather, but I hope it's better than it was last time we were down there in 2018. It was a rainy, ugly day in Charlotte, so hopefully you guys are bringing some good weather for us. And we're excited about the opportunity, and that's all I got. Questions?
Once again, if you have a question, please use the raise your hand function, and we'll get to as many as we can. Our first question is from Luciano Chatelain. Go ahead, Luciano.
Hey, Coach, I hope you're doing well, and thanks for your time. Both you and Wake Forest ranking the top 5 nationally in scoring offense. How can you prevent this game from becoming a shootout, and what makes Wake Forest's offense so hard to stop?
Yeah, Wake Forest does a great job. I mean, Ruggiero is our offense coordinator. I've known him for a long, long time. Lots of RPOs, and we've struggled with RPOs early in the season. I think we've got some fixes and gotten better at it. As we see it, they are the master of RPOs. They'll run them in, out, every different route you can think off the same formation and same run action. And again, they're explosive. It comes down to, like I tell our guys all the time, you win championships with defense, and a lot of points are going to be scored in games nowadays with all the RPOs, and when you're facing a great quarterback like Hartman and all the amazing talent he's got at the wide receiver position that have made plays all day. So we're going to practice on defense, we're going to practice on offense, we're going to practice on special teams, and try to eliminate the scoring and try to score at least just one more point than Wake Forest does. That's how we're going to do it, Luciano. I like that Italian name.
All right, our next question is from Amanda Filippic Gozzi. Go ahead.
Hi, Pat. I'm wondering if I know you haven't started prepping for Wake all that much yet, but if you thought Clemson had provided a bit of a blueprint, they rushed for over 300 yards against Wake Forest and kind of out-physicaled them. Do you look at that at all as a way to win the game?
Yeah, man, we look at, every game. Won't be one recipe. There's a bunch of different recipes. There's a bunch of different ways. Obviously, Clemson, first of all, has got a lot of talent on the football team, as we know. So just because Clemson did it doesn't mean we can do it. So it comes down to, fitting what you can fit into a game plan with what you guys do, what we do defensively, and try to match that together and give our kids the best chance and opportunity to win the football game.
Okay, our next question is from Andrea Adelson. Andrea, go ahead.
Hey, Pat. Just wondering the development of some of the guys on the defensive line. I know you had some veterans coming back, but the way they've really stepped up, especially in the second half of the season, what has been the biggest key there for you guys after losing some NFL picks?
Yeah, Andrea, it's called development, and we can practice. I always say this. Coming out of doubles, everybody wants to know who you are. Well, you don't know because you play against your offense every day, and you're going to face a different offense every Saturday, afternoon or evening. But our guys just continue to develop, and it's a tribute to our coaches of developing them. There's just some guys that made some major improvements. They've gotten better from week 1 to week 13, and that's why they call us coaches. That's why we're in this. It's not all about recruiting a 4 or 5 star player. It's about developing your players, getting them to fit into your scheme and doing what you want them to do. And we don't always do it the right way, but it comes out of development, and you win championships with defense. And with the way our offense was scoring points and making plays and being explosive, it was a must to get to a championship game that the defense got better every week, and I think they've done that.
Why do you feel like you guys have been so good at developing players on the defensive line?
Well, I mean, first of all, you got to look at your defense coordinator is doing a good job putting them in position to make plays. And then Charlie Partridge, our D-line coach, I think does an outstanding job. I mean, we lose Jalen Twyman to the NFL, who led the, I guess at least the D tackles and sacks, and you lose Rashad Weaver and Patrick Jones, but we still managed to be in the top 5, top 2, top 3 in sacks. And again, we're stopping the run. But so I think, number one, it's scheme. I think, what we do and how we do it. And, I always say this, some people have, I call them junk defense. They junk it up so much that sometimes when you junk it up, you're going to you're going to expose yourself to some big plays because it's good for this, but bad for that. Okay. And I feel like what we do is sound versus everything. And we're going to give our kids a chance to make a play. So I think soundness is the number one key. We're trying not to, give them anything. And sometimes when you give nothing, you might lose a one-on-one here and there. But we're going to be sound and very, very, particular in what we do and how we do it.
Thanks, Pat.
You got it, Andrew. See you in Charlotte.
Our next question is from John McConigal. John, go ahead.
Yeah, Pat, looking at the receivers that Wake Forest has with Perry and Roberson specifically, do you feel like those two guys could be the biggest challenges your corners face this season?
I got to watch a little bit more tape, John, and you better, pay attention as you're driving down the road here. Hopefully you're going to church, but I'll know a little bit more, when we hopefully meet up later in the week. I'm watching all of it and really just kind of breaking them down and making sure everything's, in line. And again, Hartman's a challenge. The passing game is always a challenge. As I told you guys, I didn't think the run game would be a challenge this past weekend, and it wasn't. But our secondary is going to have to be, on their toes. We're going to have to play good. You're going to have to win a lot of one-on-ones, and those guys certainly are the best players because they're in the ACC Championship. So they're the best talent we're going to face this week. I can't measure them up to Clemson's wideouts. I think Virginia had, some of the best wideouts across the board, tight ends, just, total weapons. But I'll know a little bit more as we get into the week. But they're talented for a reason. They're where they are for a reason. So they're good. So I just mark them down as all 5-star wideouts.
Our next question is from Brett Friedlander. Go ahead, Brett.
Pat, you mentioned Wake's RPOs a little earlier, and they hold their meshes probably as long as anybody in the country. How unusual is that, and how difficult is that to prepare for and then to execute to defend?
Well, we'll prepare for it because, our scout team, we call them the Rocks, Brett, will, do exactly as we coach them. So, not only is our assistant football coach doing a great job, but, I give kudos to all our GAs in how they prepare those guys, not only in the meetings, but when they get on the field. And our poor GAs, they get their butts ripped about as bad as anybody when the look is not what we want it to be. But they do ride their meshes, Brett, as good as anybody. And again, anybody that doesn't know what Brett's talking about, the quarterback is going to ride that tailback and almost take 2 or 3 steps into the line of scrimmage. We played them back in 2018 down in Winston-Salem, and ended up winning and clinching the Coastal last time we played them that year. And they did the same thing, except I think the quarterbacks blocked a little bit more. I mean, the quarterback would come off that thing and throw a shoulder into a defensive end. It was like, golly. So I mean, they, when I look at what Wake Forest does, and Dave's an offensive guy, and Ruggiero is a great offensive coordinator. So they do it together. They got a tremendous staff, but they do what they do and they perfect it. And that's why they are where they are. I mean, they have mastered that. They do it their way. They don't do it like Clemson. They don't do it like Alabama. They do it Wake Forest way. They do it the Clawson way. And Warren, like I said, does an outstanding job. And I think it's really his offense from everything I gather. And again, he's done it. I mean, it's a unique way. And I think that's a beautiful thing. I think our defense is unique in what we do and how we do it. We bring a lot of pressure at times, and people have to deal with that. And that's why we have a lot of sacks and turn our guys loose. And, to me, Wake Forest is that on offense. They have mastered their way of doing it. They love what they do. Their kids believe in it. That's the biggest thing, is their kids believe that they're going to be successful doing what they do because they're the only ones that do it that way. And it's kind of like a triple option a little bit. I mean, they have their own way of doing it, and it's been very, very successful for them.
Thanks a lot. Good luck Saturday.
Thank you.
Our next question is from Jerry DiPaolo. Go ahead, Jerry.
Hey, Pat, I was just wondering, Hartman and Pickett are two of the most productive quarterbacks in the country. Are there any similarities between the two guys that might either help or impact the way you prepare for them, for Hartman?
Yeah, there's really no similarities. Kenny's a drop back pro style guy that's been very productive, and Hartman does it, the different way. As Brett asked that question, Uncle Jerry, they do it the RPO way. And like I said, they're going to have a bunch of different routes. They're going to ride that mesh, and he's got his eyes. Hartman does a great job with the vision down the field, and he either decides, he's riding into the line of scrimmage, so he's got more time to decide, am I going to hand it off to this running back, or am I going to throw it on a glance, on a what we call a slash route, which we saw one last week at Syracuse, or a couple, slash goes. They run missiles and jets and, all kinds of different terms that we call them. So it's, they're both excellent at what they do, but two offenses that are, really totally different.
And our next question is from David Teal. Go ahead, David.
Jordan Addison had a very productive freshman season, but this year he's got 4 more touchdown receptions than anyone in the country. Did you see that arc going upward quite that quickly?
I did. I really did. For several reasons, and and our local media, David could tell you, a year ago we had a passing game to the receivers, but we didn't have any tight ends. You look at, I think Jordan had 11 catches yesterday, and our 2 tight ends, Gavin Bartholomew and Lucas Krull, had a total of 11 together. I think that might be the most catches that a tight end duo has had in the last 3 years for sure. Maybe the last 10 years, I'm not sure, but 11 catches by your tight ends, and they're getting yards after the catch as well, and they also help you in the run game. So our run game is much better than it was when we need it. We have it, and so our tight ends have been so important in not only our run game but our passing game. And so when your tight ends are making plays and you have to cover 6'6" tight end or a 6'4" tight end that's physical and got great hands and is just a true freshman as well, naturally it makes a defense become a little thinner. You have to defend more people. A year ago it was Jordan Addison. They had to defend Jordan Addison. Tayseer Mack was just having an average year at that point, and Jordan was the guy, but we've got more weapons, and it starts with those tight ends and Jared Wayne as well, being on the other side of the ball.
Then kind of sticking with the receivers, Brennan Marion is your first-year position coach. He spent some time here in Virginia, William & Mary. He was with Mike London also at Howard. Was it his Pittsburgh roots that kind of led you to bring him home from Hawaii, or had you known him earlier?
I did not know of him. And I've said this a long time ago when we hired him. He kind of annoyed me a little bit. Okay, I was telling David, if you know me, I tell you the truth. He had more people call me, and I'm like, who is this guy? Because usually you're hiring people or someone you trust. But I had calls from former players. I'm like, where's the connection? I had former Michigan State players call me about him, and they found him on a Zoom call, and during COVID, how he coached football and just his fundamentals. Brendan's a fundamental guy. Does a great job with the receivers. Receivers love him. He's young and energetic like they are. So they've really just gravitated to his coaching style, and he's done an outstanding job. But it almost cost him the job because he was too much. But I was, and again, I think some head coaches would be like, he's out, and just let it go. But I was, open-minded enough that, I'm not always looking for, the easy choice. I'm looking for the hard choice. And we interviewed some really good candidates for that job. And, I had to get it right. It was important because we lost a really, really good coach that went to the Chargers, and Chris Beatty, who's another Virginia guy.
Right.
And he was outstanding. So, I couldn't have Chris Beatty being up here and all of a sudden, make a bad hire. It was just like, it was, you had Jordan Addison in that room, and I had the receivers interview as well with them. Not every one of them, but I picked a select group to help me pick that guy because it's an important hire. When you lost a great one, you got to get another good one. And my promise to them was, I'm going to get the best guy, whether I'm annoyed by him or not. And I love him to death. But it's that process. And I think everybody on here has had to hire someone or gone through that where everybody's calling and putting their name for this one guy. And you're like, I don't even know who this guy is. He's out in Hawaii. How long is it going to take him to fly here? It was all kinds of issues. But I took my time and just did my homework. And I think it really has paid off for our kids.
Was there anything that he did or said during that interview process when you brought him in that kind of won you over and got you over your annoyance?
Yeah, again, it was not, again, the annoyance was not, I mean, when he came in, it was, he blew you away with his knowledge. And I think that's the thing. He blew away with it, and the other thing I look at is in recruiting, I want a guy that's a go-getter. Okay. And, this guy went to go get the job. He wanted the job here in Pittsburgh. He wanted to be in Pittsburgh. So, on the positive end, it's like, this guy really wants the job. Okay. And it was, I had to do my due diligence to make sure he's either the guy or not the guy. It was neck and neck near the end, and we made a great hire. And I'm certainly sure there was some other really good hires as well that I could have made, but we got the best guy for the job. And he's done an outstanding job for us.
All right, our next question is from John McGonigal.
Sorry about that. Yeah, Pat, just to let you know, I am on my way back from Syracuse still. The weather in upstate New York is brutal. But no, look, obviously this weekend is a big opportunity for your team and program. But without a clear Heisman frontrunner at this point, I mean, how big of an opportunity is it for Kenny to be on the stage?
I think it's a great opportunity. I expect Kenny to be in New York. Whether he's going to get that or not. I mean, I think he's one of the best quarterbacks in the country. And I think someone needs to go down and break down. I was watching Ole Miss and Mississippi State, the Egg Bowl the other night, and Corral is a great player. And I don't even know who's in there. I didn't get to watch Alabama very much. I don't know how their quarterback did the other day, but I just, I said this back a long time ago, when I was at Miami of Ohio, and I called a good friend that was at the New York Giants. I said, Ben Roethlisberger, playing with him and coaching with Ben Roethlisberger for the year, this guy is the guy. He's a pro quarterback, and he's had a Hall of Fame career here with the Steelers. I feel the same way about Kenny. And I've watched some of these guys. I watched Corral throw a lot of passes underneath. He's got some unbelievable talent at the receiver position. He might have 2 or 3 or 4. Jordan Addison's underneath. I don't know, but I see him throwing a lot of bubbles. And as a football coach, I look at, what's going to go to the next level. And I think anybody that wants to pick a Heisman Trophy guy wants a guy that, hey, I voted for him for the Heisman, and he's an all-pro, and he's got a chance to be in the NFL Hall of Fame someday. That's Kenny Pickett.
All right, our next question is for Larry Sorensen. Go ahead, Larry.
Pat, you mentioned a moment ago that your defense likes to fly around and they're physical. Your offense has your quarterback in the Heisman conversation. At this time of year, every team has some kind of identity usually. Is there a phrase or short sentence that you would use to characterize the identity of your team at this point?
Yeah, that's a really good question. The quick phrase would be we. Okay. And our motto this season has been we, not me. Okay. And I think we're in the world of, it's all about, hey, what do I get out of this? Give me the ball. Let me make the tackle. Why am I not getting more of this? I want more of this. And so our motto has been, we, not me. Every tweet that I send out, I'll put that hashtag. Our Pitt football Twitter does the same thing as far as just, we, not me. And this is a team game. And, we got to have 11 guys playing together out there. We got to have, 120 unselfish players on this football team that are all working towards the same goal. So I think, one of the biggest reasons we're having the success is our kids have bought in. They're selfless. They understand the meaning of team, and that doesn't happen nowadays. A lot of programs, it's all about me. And it's funny. I was talking to Tom Tumulty, who was our honorary captain this past weekend, and he spoke to the players before the game, and I didn't realize it. And I don't go back and look at his record. The only bowl game he played in was the Blue Gray Bowl game, the Senior Bowl. Didn't play in a bowl game. And I was like, golly, I got this guy, didn't play in a bowl game, didn't, have much success, played for the Bengals for 4 years, great linebacker at Pitt. But he told the story how, he'd never been to a bowl game, and they had 9 guys drafted on the team. And, it kind of hit me when he said that. We're sitting at the pregame meal, sit with the honorary captain and our captains. And he said that. I was like, that resonates with our football team. That'll, they understand that. But to have 9 guys drafted, and I think, the most games he won there was 6 games in his senior year, but it was like 3 wins, 4 wins or something like that, and 6 in his senior year from 91 to 95. And it's kind of an eye opener that, it's about the team. And, our biggest challenges as coaches around the country now is to get your kids to play as a team and think about, it's about us. It's, the team comes first, the individual doesn't. When you put the team first, good things can happen. I think it's a great lesson for all of our kids. And, we not me probably will be, one of our sayings forever and ever, as long as I'm the head football coach at the University of Pittsburgh.
Thank you.
Our next question is from Griffin Floyd. Go ahead, Griffin.
Hey, Coach. Coach Clawson said that you guys have known each other a long time. Can you speak a little bit to you guys' relationship and what's it like, when you've seen 20, 30 years of this guy's offensive tendencies?
Yeah, I mean, he's changed through the years, obviously. But he's a tremendous football coach. Again, we've never worked with each other, but always bounced, assistant coaches off each other because I have a lot of faith and trust in some of the people he's worked with. Again, very smart guy. We're on a committee together, me, Dave, and Dabo, with all the ADs. So we have their ears at times. Here for the last year, we've obviously got to know each other a lot through this Zoom link through all the COVID days of the last year because we've had more. Usually we see each other at the media day and maybe the ACC kickoff luncheon, and then also at the in Amelia Island for our ACC coaches meetings in May. But now you're getting face to face with them all the time. And I was late for our call today at 2:30. We had an ACC head coaches call at I think 12:30 today. I got on 12:38. I was locked in watching videotape and totally forgot. And my administrative assistant Vicky wasn't there, so I blamed her. And EJ didn't help me out. So Dave's just become a really good friend that we bounce a lot of things off each other through the years, and really don't talk a lot of football. It's more just coaching, and again, I've followed his career from wherever he's been, through the Northeast and Bowling Green and Tennessee and just all the different places he's been. Tremendous football coach.
And our next question is from Connor O'Neill. Go ahead, Connor.
Pat, kind of a view from 30,000 feet question, but Kenny started this game, 3 or 4 years ago now. How much of a different quarterback is he? And is it really, can you even evaluate how much he's changed over his career?
Yeah, Connor, I think, we'll go back to that Kenny can't do it all by himself. When we drafted him out of high school and brought him to Pittsburgh, we knew he was a tremendous player. He played one play against Syracuse and in his first, action years, I guess 4.5 years ago, whatever it may be. And, we knew he was a great player, but, it comes down to all the guys around him. Kenny can't be who he is without Jordan Addison, the guy that's running down the field, getting open, running, precise routes and the rest of the guys. He can't do it without his offensive line. So, I think, it's been a team building. It's been roster management of getting the right players in the right position and doing what our players do best on offense. And, Kenny is, obviously gotten better every year. Is Kenny this much better than he was a year ago? No. I think, a COVID-filled year, in 2020 with, no timing with receivers, no spring ball, no summer 7-on-7, which they do just about every single day. They go out there and throw balls and work on timing. We had none of that. So it would have been amazing if, this virus never spread through to see where Pitt would have been a year ago. Because I think we had a really good team there. But, I think at times a year ago, it was kind of, I go with the we, not me. It was kind of a free for all, like, hey, this is chaos. What are we doing? I got to go make some plays. And it wasn't that whole situation. And again, we had some injuries at tight end. Lucas Krull, got hurt in the second game of the season, and Gavin Bartholomew wasn't with us. Izzy wasn't with us. That's Izzy Anaconda. But we've just gotten, we've got a football team of players that we trust can make plays at the receiver, tight end, running back position. We got an offensive line that we've rotated through there. I mean, Blake Zabovic, has played left guard, right guard. He started for us at center this Saturday. I mean, we've had mix and match guys. Gabe Hoyer's at right guard this week. Matt Gonsalves at right tackle. So we've had to juggle some linemen in there. So we've done it different ways. And that doesn't happen if you don't have quality guys to step up. And it's that, that thing coaches talk about all the time, the next man up. I kind of hate it, but, but we've done a nice job with the next man up thing. When guys go down, it's not like this gigantic hole. Back in 2018, when we won the Coastal, Jimmy Morrissey, who's with the Texans right now, is a starting center there, was a 2-year captain, and a guy was a walk-on. When he got hurt, we really didn't have a great answer for it. We didn't have the depth that we have right now. So, we've done a great job recruiting here at Pitt. And, when you got, 1 deep and a 2 deep that you can put in the game, you look at safety. Brandon Hill was, ejected a week ago for targeting. And Judson Tallander, stepped up and played 48 plays Saturday on defense and 12 on special teams and filled the void. And he was playing so well, we just kept him in there and said, "Hey, Brandon, you hang on a bench here. We'll get a little bit more practice in next week, and he'll be ready to start." So it was just like, hey, he's good too, So let's let him play, and he's doing a nice job. So, but that's at every position I could talk about. And, you look at at our star position. We got Cam Bright, who was a starter at the beginning of the season, but John Patrician just keeps getting better and making plays. So we have 2 starters out there. We just rotate who's starting this week. Hey, this week you're starting. Okay, so John and our Pittsburgh reporters can kind of go down through the thing and say, okay, who started last week? Okay, the other guy's probably starting this week. They're that good, and it's nice to have depth like that.
All right, we got time for about 2 more questions. If anybody has one, please use the raise your hand function.
Can I call on somebody?
Go for it.
Chris Peak, I see your picture up there. Come on, Chris. You watching NFL games or what? Gotta have a question.
Just listening intently. But if you want to, I guess what I was trying to think about earlier is you guys sort of week to week over the last 3 or 4 weeks there's been something riding on each game as it goes. The Carolina game, you need to, stay ahead in the Coastal. The Virginia game, obviously, to clinch the Coastal. Last night you had a chance to win 10 games. And it seems like your players have dealt with that. I know you don't like the word pressure, but your players have dealt with it well. Do you put a lot of that on the leadership, guys like Kenny? What do you think has helped the players kind of handle each of these situations sort of week to week as the stage gets bigger?
Well, I think, it comes down to leadership, Chris. And to me, it starts at the top. I could mess it all up in a team meeting by saying the wrong thing at the wrong time. And then all of a sudden, we splinter and go the wrong way. So, to me, it starts with the head coach, and it goes to the coordinators on offense, defense, and special teams. And it goes from the coordinators to the assistants and to the GAs, and it infiltrates your entire program. I think that's what it's all about. Probably made a mistake against, after we beat Tennessee, and I gave the message out, but I'm not sure that it all got, it got down the line, and I made a point after that, like, hey guys, when I say this, like, we all got to, like, this is what it is. This is what we all need to talk about. It can't be, hey, I got an opinion too on this side of the ball or that side of the ball or at this position. So we all have to be on the same page. And if the head coach is saying, hey, this is what our focus is this week, this is what we need to talk about. Don't talk about that. Talk about this. That is the key, because, always say this, it's intent versus impact. Okay. What is the intent of what you said, and what's the impact of what you said? And the impact is sometimes tremendous. And, when you say the wrong things, I think things can happen, the wrong way. And when you say the right things, I think, you can have positive results. And I think that's what we've received this year, is just, our kids buying into what we're saying, believing what we're saying, is critical. And sometimes, they don't listen, and then they learn from those mistakes, again, whether it's, from the Miami game, we learned from, mistakes there. We learned from, the Western Michigan. So you always you have to learn from your mistakes, and then it's my job to make sure they learn from them. It's, the Miami game, we went into that game, and, we knew we had to have composure. We had no composure. We lost our sense. We had too many penalties that day. We let Miami get into our heads, and our kids learned from it. We relaxed against, Western Michigan, thinking that, hey, we beat an SEC team, and I tried like hell, but to get it all done the right way, but it didn't get done. And ultimately, that's my job to get that done. And I have used, and maybe we've mentioned this a little bit on, some of our local stuff there, Chris, that just giving my message to the captains and saying, hey, Kenny, Cal, Deslin, and Cam, like, you got to hit them on this. So the next week it was like, hey, you guys have to cover this. It's got to come from your mouths. You're hearing it from me, but if you guys are saying something totally different, we're not going to get where we need to go. And those guys have really done a great job of making sure, they've had their opportunities to talk to them. They talk to, the team anytime they want. but probably 3 or 4 times a week, they have the entire team, the coaches pull out of there and let them just talk to, whether it's on a Friday night, a Saturday morning before the game, or, Thursday after practice. I let the captains, you got them, and coaches walk away and let them talk about what they need to, but, I'm always trying to give them stuff that, hey, this is what needs to be done. Okay, you guys got me. And they've done a great job delivering that message, I think, Chris.
All right, our last question is from John McGonigal. John, go ahead.
Yeah, Pat, just a quick one here for you. First time since 2014 that a team other than Clemson will win the ACC Championship. Do you see this as a window for other teams in the conference to obviously stake a claim this year, but even going forward in the years to come?
Yeah, I certainly do. I mean, but Clemson's been dominant, and they're still dominant, and sure they're in the top 25 again this week. And I think they were. I voted for them last week, at least in the coaches poll, and they deserve to be. And they got an incredible football team, so they're going to be a force to be reckoned with every year. But Pitt, we hope, is the same way, and Wake Forest the same way, and in Virginia the same way. Everybody's got a chance, and I think that's a beautiful thing. Kind of a video that came out in the summer. It kind of got my blood pressure up a little bit. Was that Coastal Chaos, because the Coastal about as competitive as anyone, and here there is no Coastal Chaos in 21, but the Coastal Division is an outstanding division. The ACC is great football and does not get enough respect across the country. Jim Phillips, our commissioner, is, I think, the best, one of the best commissioners in the country. I am so excited. His leadership in this conference has been outstanding, and we're going to continue to get better. But when you top to bottom, academically to athletically, the ACC is one of the top in the country. I don't think it gets enough respect. So, hope I answered your question.
All right, thanks everyone. We're all out of time. Coach, appreciate your time, and we will see you Friday.
Sounds good. Thanks. Hail to Pitt.
Thanks everybody.